Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it's Your Impact Attack, and the VBC is ready to go after the biggest party in history this summer. We are ready to keep that party rolling right now by talking about what everybody's talking about, which is obviously a random TNA episode from last week, not leading into or coming out of a pay per view. So, here we go. Who are we? The VBC. It's the vet, JB Williams. Hello. It's my tag team partner, Brandon, who I'm tagging through the internet. Brandon, hello. You're the B.
Oh man, yeah. Like, dude, I had to go back and do a refresh of what happened on Impact because, like, SummerSlam and at least the two big things that happened on it kind of made me forget what happened on Impact.
See.
Well, as well
Well,
as the big thing that happened on SmackDown with Cena turning babyface and them solidifying it at SummerSlam.
that's right. Right up until the moment, I wasn't buying it. But let's see if these people bought it. It's the C of the VBC. The chat is here. Who do we have with us?
Let's see, we got Lab Rat, we got Chris Winland, we got Liz, we got Javi Uchiha, and we got Darkside Caster. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining us. Whoop whoop.
All right. So we're fresh off of the Raw watch along. I'm sure they were capitalizing on all the amazing things that happened on SummerSlam, and it was just probably cooking on all cylinders and just firing on all whatevers and anything, whatever. Firing on all burners, whatever. It was so good, right? What wasn't it good? Was it good?
I'll give them credit for this. They at least followed up. They actually followed up on the whole thing with LA Knight getting fucked over, and he's the first guy to get in Seth's face and be like, "What the fuck?" And they set up a world title match between him and Seth for the main event tonight. So of course we'll catch that later on. Whoop whoop.
All right. Not bad. Not bad. Oh yes. So a lot of the weekend news was, of course, SummerSlam related. But look, I'll just be honest with you. With the two nights of watch-alongs and the two nights of post-review shows and the Monday locker room and everything else, I think you guys are done hearing about SummerSlam. So we're not going to spend too much time on that. You already know what happened. You already know everything. So we'll move on to some other news. Let's talk about SummerSlam again. Brock Lesnar, right? So y'all know about Brock Lesnar. So there was I guess
He's a
there was
UFC guy, right?
yeah, I think so, something like maybe he tried. I think he tried out for the NFL, but it just didn't work out. Um, yes. So because of his reappearance at SummerSlam, the representatives for Janelle Grant have released an official statement that you may be interested to hear. Here it is. For far too long, abuse was allowed to thrive under WWE's leadership. Instead of righting this wrong, the WWE has done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. This attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will backfire. We look forward to the full set of facts, including those about Mr. Lesnar, coming out in a court of law where they belong, but in the meantime, we refer you back to Janelle Grant's updated complaint, which outlines in detail the abuse she endured by McMahon and others while employed at WWE. So, a couple of things here. Brock Lesnar's not a defendant, but he is named. We, again, she has referred you to the complaint, so I'm going to refer you to the complaint. I'm not going to rehash everything that was said in the complaint. But that being said, what they said here, instead of righting this wrong, WWE has done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. Well, I don't want to say they did nothing, because they did take him out of the video game and they did pull him from all the appearances, and they haven't really mentioned him that much in the past, however long. So it's not like they did nothing. They did a little more than nothing. Did they do enough? We'll see. Will it backfire? We'll see. But that is the statement. That is the situation. And that is news. Brandon, any sort of comments on that?
You know, as much shit as Disco Inferno gets, he is absolutely right when he says, "Let's let the facts come out in court and go from there."
Um, yeah. Well, as I always say, who is much more of a genius than Glenn, regardless of the facts in court or this is all speculation or whatever other bullshit. What I always say is look at the actions of the people, not the words of the people. Before Brock Lesnar's was named in the updated complaint, before his name was put in there, this happened. They pulled him, right? Why would you pull an innocent person? Nobody knew it was him. His name was not in the complaint. So why does he randomly disappear? Because they know that he's guilty of whatever he's accused of doing. So they took him out. That's the actions. The words say one thing, the actions say another thing. So whatever he's being accused of, they're accusing, like, the Janelle Grant side is accusing Brock Lesnar of doing these things, but they didn't pull him from the company. They didn't make those financial decisions that could have cost them money, or at the very least, a media headache. So where there's smoke, there's fire, is what I'm saying. But you're all free to think whatever you want. I mean, this is the behavior of marks. Not talking to you, Brandon. I'm talking to other people because I've seen, and I'm sure you have, a social media of just people that, oh, as long as it's Brock Lesnar being back, I don't care about anything that was even talked about, which is fine. That's up to you. Maybe you don't have a problem with those kind of things. I'm sure there was some interesting conversations at home after those complaints came out. But the fans don't have to worry about. Brock Lesnar's back. Yay. So wonderful.
Yeah,
And
I would have waited for, at the very least, if you're going to bring Brock Lesnar back, wait for him to be like 100% free and clear of, okay, he didn't actually do anything. Granted, we can personally judge him for how he might have responded to some of the offers made to him, regardless of whether he followed through on them or not, which, as far as you know, he did not. But the fact is, even if he entertained it, that's still enough to judge him as a character, or at least get an idea of him as a character.
Well, yeah. I guess there's not too much else to say about that. I just wanted to read the statement, because it's the statement is the only thing that's not a rumor or speculation or unproven or whatever. It's just their statement that they put out. So that happened. Let's go with some more unfortunate news. Former WWE talent. I don't know. I don't remember this. But anyway, you guys may know Colby Carino, Prince of Old School, son of Steve Carino, the King of Old School. I guess that's what makes him a prince. Underwent emergency surgery, and he tweeted about it. And he's in a hospital bed wearing a neck brace. And he says, I'm not looking forward to this long road of recovery, but I pray that my family and I make it through it. He doesn't want, he wants people to respect his family's privacy, say he appreciates everyone. The article is paraphrasing what he said rather than just putting it. So yes, Carino is working with the NWA right now, as you guys probably know. But yeah, So unfortunate, but apparently he's doing okay as can be expected after his surgery, and I'm wishing Colby the best in his recovery. Hope he's back doing what he loves to do, or whatever he wants to do when he's fully recovered.
Yeah, that always sucks here because, like, if you're a journeyman wrestler like that, like where he's at, that's kind of how you make your living. So if you're out of action, it's a little bit tough there.
Yeah. Well,
Of course, hopefully, he kind of taps into the carny worker side of him and realize and tries to make money off of that to support himself with merchandise, videos, content, just whatever he can. And of course, support from the business and fans help him keep him afloat during this difficult time.
that's right. And then a pair of related sort of stories here. Apparently, Jeremy Borash has got a new title. Apparently, he is the director of Latin America, and he will act as the point man between WWE and AAA.
Which is actually a good thing because him and Conan are boys.
Mm-hmm. Now, these are all reports from the Wrestle Observer newsletter. And supposedly, Pete Dunne is going to AAA as a producer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that would make sense then, along with those reports that apparently that second El Grande Americano that appeared last week was supposedly him.
That's right. And because I guess he did such a good job, he got himself the spot. What else does it say? I mean, we know that Conan and Borash have been boys forever since TNA. But this is not the role hasn't been officially confirmed yet, so we're just going off of Dave here. But he's definitely been a big part of the social media for AAA with talking about, tweeting about Triple Mania and this show coming up, the Fatal 4-Way for the Mega Championship. It's got Vikingo and Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano and Dragon Lee. So, Vikingo versus 3 WWE guys. I wonder how that's going to turn out.
I see him losing the belt, but I don't see him eating the pin.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to put on Dominic.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Dragon Lee's eating the pin of that match, 100% in my opinion.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. Anyway, so besides that, more Observer stuff. Talking about now that the acquisition is finalized. The AAA acquisition is finalized. So now he's reporting on the kind of changes they're going to have, such as a Mexican Performance Center, training the Mexican trainers in the, WWE system and having them, teach a hybrid. Everybody's supposed to keep it. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You can read all that, but just whatever you thought might happen as far as like the WWE-izing of AAA, Dave's thinking is happening. So, and from what I've heard Conan talking about it, he seems like he's pretty on board with it, saying that basically what they're getting from WWE is stuff that they've needed or wanted for a long time, and they just haven't been able to, put into practice or anything like that. So he probably sees it as a good thing, but what else is he going to?
Right. And I could see like a company like AAA, if it's done correctly, where it gets like the WWE money and production behind it, but as far as creative and product, where you have like, a point man like Borash working with a Conan who gets everything, who are buds with each other, I think that could work on the surface level. Again, I don't know the details. I don't know what the intricacies are, but again, on the surface, the idea of, a AAA with Conan at the helm of creative working with, Borash, who's the WWE point man, who's his buddy, you would think that they could work together and create the best product possible that, gives the WWE production while staying true to the Lucha Libre.
Well, one could only hope, or one could not care, because I ain't gonna watch it. I don't care what they do. Um, let's see here.
Speaking of which, Triple Mania watch along on the 16th. Whoop, whoop.
That's right. Let's go. All right. Now we have a Chris Winland question. We love these. So, question is, hey guys, so if I go through the quote system and brand in the indies, what might differ or similar with the training processes you each went through? I feel that's more entertaining, or I feel that's more interesting than Impact lately. Yes. Well, let's see here. So as far as the training processes, this is basically I could give like a short version of what I went through from the beginning. I mean, when I first arrived there, when you sign up, you have to watch at least one practice before you're able to participate. So the first day I couldn't do anything. I just watched everybody do their drills and stuff. And this is when Mike Mondo was teaching. So Mike Mondo and this other guy, Static Mo Green, he had a bunch of names. Nothing ever became of him. I'm trying to think what if he ever made a WWE appearance. Like what did they call him? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So they were the trainers for the beginners at that time, and what they like to do was they would take a deck of cards and they would flip the cards over, and whatever for the warm-ups, whatever you had to, if it was a black suited,
give me the Harley race workout, pal.
Yes. Black suits push-ups, red suits squats, burpees for jokers or whatever. Or actually it was like aces or something. I don't remember exactly how they did it, but so I had not so when I did this, I had not done this volume of training in a long time, if ever. Of course I've done push-ups and squats before, and I had done whatever training I thought I needed to get myself in shape for this. But this much at once was more than I'd ever done. And I don't even know if they didn't go through the deck twice. I don't remember. But by the end of it, I felt like I was on rubber legs. And now that I'm completely, like, I wasn't blown up, but my muscles were now like they're jello. So now I had to learn everything at less than optimal physical condition. Like, I'm trying to learn the ropes when I can run the ropes when I can barely walk. So I've never done anything before, but now I'm in no position to do anything. It was very strange. So somehow I got through it. It didn't seem to be a disaster. It just felt like it was going to be, but it's amazing what you could do when you just focus and push yourself through something. Um, so somehow I made it, and there were just the different sets of drills that they would have. Rope running drills like a crisscross. They had,
Did you
they
ever, do-
had bump drills,
did you ever do triple fives?
triple fives. Well, you may have called it that, but it may have been something else. What was it?
I started off with it was two guys in the ring. One person would like whip the person into the ropes, but never let go of the break. Like it'd be just a whip into the ropes, and then go in the middle, push back, whip, and they do that 5 times. And then at number 5, reverse. And the other guy did it 5 times, and then it would turn into a whip into the ropes, and then turn into a sequence of duck clothesline and do a drop down leapfrog. Do that 5 times. Switch reverse. Do that. The other guy does it 5 times, and then the other guy would go into do an up and or kick and reverse, do up and over into the corner 5 times, back and forth, and then kick reverse. Do that again 5 times. The other guy.
Yes, something like that. Not exactly like that, but something like that. Uh, it really just depended on, what the trainers were feeling like. But there were that. A lot of it was because it was the beginners. It was not so much like those drills like that kind of came in more with Rips training, but they also did those in the beginners sometimes. So stuff like that, yeah. And then just just taking the bumps, just being able to do the bumps. You would take your flat back bump, your flip bump by yourself, you know, uh, the rolls, doing the rolls around the ring, doing the somersault rolls, the arm drag rolls. Um, yeah, so it
The El
seems as
Tigre,
though
the Guerrero,
yes,
the
it
Flair.
seems like we're having very similar trainings here, even though so that's how the beginner stuff was, and then later on the with Rip Rogers, the training was more structured in the sense of like we would do some of those drills, but they were like to warm up, like a crisscross to warm up, or what was known as the high spot. So we would run a high spot drill, um, and that would be like, you know, you have to do your tie up, then you have to cut the guy off, then you have to, um, you know, uh, take a headlock, and then they push you off, and then tackle, drop down, leapfrog, drop down, leapfrog, something. Go for a cover, kick out, reverse rolls, and do it like that. So you would do like it would be like the shine spot in a match, basically. Um, so things like that. Sometimes he would show us how to do the hangman spot with the where you go through the ropes and the you get caught in the ropes by your neck, like the Mick Foley, how he lost his ear. Um, Sometimes he would show us we would do that. I never did that one like personally, um, because it was more rare. So uh, just some other things like that. But most of the time it would be an hour of chain wrestling where everybody like rotates around the room and switches partners and everything, and he'll call out whatever. He'll say work an arm back and forth, or sometimes he'd just say chain go, and then you just do whatever, and then he'd blow the whistle and he might say work a leg back and forth, work a headlock back and forth. So you're supposed to like figure out different ways to reverse a headlock or get out of a headlock, or basically just stick with a headlock for however long. It could go for, so because there's no determined amount of time that it could go for, you have to learn that's where you kind of are learning to work, in terms of like, don't just do it and get it over with. Put your emotions into it, put your facial expressions into it, get the most out of everything that you do. That's where you learn that. Sometimes it would be 2 hours of this.
Dude, when you mentioned about working a headlock, I will never ever forget when I took a seminar with Cole Cabana where he taught us how you can get like a minute or two out of a headlock just by selling to all four sides of the audience.
A minute? See, that's why Cole Cabana's a fucking amateur. I could get a match out of a headlock. I could do a whole match with just a headlock. But, you know, Colt's not the best in the world, so anyway, so yeah, so like
he
that
just lost
was
a bunch of money to the best in the world.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, his mom will take care of him. So
give me that joint bank account, pal.
That's right. So that would be one thing. Then everybody would do a promo, like a 1 minute promo. Sometimes people would do. Sometimes Rip would put a person in the ring to do a promo, and he would do this with certain people that he knew were good at it or could do it, and he would like have them just cut a promo for, again, an indeterminate length of time. And so like he wouldn't tell you how long you were going, but he would just say, you know, give me, you know, start talking about whatever. And then he would talk, and then he would ring the bell and say, all right, do it a different character, or ring the bell and say, all right, talk about this now, or whatever. So he would, some people would get that. Most people it was just about practicing your 1 minute promo, hitting your cues, you know, telling a story, making sense real quick for a minute. And then what else? So chain wrestling and promos are always the main thing after the drill warm-ups. And then usually the last thing we would do would either be promos, or if we did promos first, the promos were usually like the buffer to let us rest after we had just soaked our clothes through with an hour of chain wrestling, right? So while everybody's sitting down and getting a drink and drying off and all this other stuff, people are doing the promos, right? So if it wasn't that, if we'd already done the promos, then the last thing we would do is we would just have matches. So Rip would call out, you know, 4 names, and he'd say, you know, so-and-so is so-and-so, your heels, so-and-so is so-and-so, your handsome young baby faces, you know, 5 minutes, so-and-so over with this, go. And you'd have like, or he'll say, take 30 seconds to talk about the finish, so-and-so over, you know? So you just had to improvise an entire tag team match. That's it. That's your training. And with the limited amount of people that I think can do that today, it seems like it was probably rarer training. But that's basically what we would do. So everybody would get a match. So if we would run out of heels, the heels were always the people that were more experienced that were going to lead. So if we ran out of heels because there were more people in class that day that were more beginners, then some people would have to work twice. And so, you know, that was pretty fun, and you learn a lot doing that. So that was essentially the Rip training. There were other things, but that's how it was kind of regimented. Now, Brandon, it sounds like a lot of the beginner stuff we kind of had in common, did the same things, right? Was there another level to the training after the beginners, or did everybody kind of train together where you were? Kind of talk about that whole process.
Yeah, I think we did kind of have it kind of set up a level, like, okay, once, you know, we felt that somebody's confident enough or competent enough where they could bump, go off the ropes, sell, and take moves. Okay, we'll put you in the ring and do you know, run drills, do impromptu tag matches. Like, I can't tell you how many times where like whoever's in charge of the training is like, okay, once we got through with the warm-up, like the hour of the warm-up drills and all of the cardio and conditioning stuff, it's like, okay, you 2 on this side of the ring, you 2 on this side of the ring, or you 3 on this corner, you 3 on this corner. Just have a never-ending tag match and just work it like it's real. And then while we were doing that, like you would have somebody in the ring who was reffing it, and then while the coach was, shouting out things in the ring. Like one lesson I will never ever forget was one time when this is before I even had my first match. We're doing like a 6-man, just working in the ring, having a match. I whipped my opponent into their team's corner, and the coach on the outside is like, "Why would you whip it? Why would you whip your opponent into their corner?"
Classic.
And then we played it off like, okay, you fucked up and put your opponent in the corner. So how would we react if this was real? Well, we're gonna tag in and beat the shit out of you.
In a working way, hopefully.
Yes. But then I'll never forget later on during another future lesson time where I was about a year or two more experienced, and somebody who was like a trainee who would come in, whipped me into my corner. Tried to whip me into my corner. I instead kicked him in the gut, reversed and whipped him into a neutral corner, and then ran in for something, worked him, and then we just kind of went from there and worked away from there.
Oh, so you didn't stop everything to yell at him then? That was nice of you.
Well, I mean, I told him, I said, well, while I was whipping him into it, I said, you're about to whip me into my corner, so I cut you off, so I'm sending you over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was basically, it was like just matches too. Like that was basically the next level of your.
Oh yeah, there'd be times where after I got done with warm-ups and stuff, like some of the drills would be like, okay, you two get together, you two get together, put something together, 5-minute match. And by the way, you can't repeat anything that happens in any other matches.
Right.
Which is one of the lessons where I learned about doing same spots and repeating things that happen in other matches, where it's like, okay, you got to keep the card fresh and trying to repeat things that people have already seen before.
Yeah, we used to do that so that nobody would think that wrestling's fake. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Get me unreal, pal.
Yep. So yeah. Well, anything else about any other unique aspects of your training, or anything else you can remember? Any other memories or stories?
Other than I'm thankful for the training that I got at the time that I got, because looking at some of the stuff I see today, it's like I have no idea how that old school mentality managed to get into my school at the time that I got in there.
Right, because it was this is like more of the TNA era was like in full swing at this point, right?
Yeah, I started training in January of 2007.
I see.
Yeah, I'll never forget that was during that period where I saw the Donald and Ace Steel as Donald Trump versus Rosie O'Donnell match. I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm done.
Yeah, it's not something you really want to aspire to. Labra said, "Did you have to shit in anyone's bag?" No. Well, I didn't. And they didn't teach me how either.
No, I did not, but I might have shit my pants at some point during a match. I don't remember. I know I puked during matches.
Yes, luckily I never shit myself, pissed myself, puked, any of that. But what I noticed about the training that I received was very similar to I truly understood. It's not like I didn't understand before. Like I understood, the scene in The Karate Kid when Daniel learns that he hasn't just been doing chores the whole time. Like, before I go on, I should have to ask, Brandon, you have seen The Karate Kid, have you not?
What do you think? What do you think?
You mother.
I have not seen any of the Karate Kids.
You
Zero.
motherfucker. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. All right. HMG After Dark coming up. Karate Kid watch along.
At least the first two, not the third with Hilary Swank.
That's the fourth one.
Okay, not the fourth one.
Anyways,
My bad. That shows you how much I know. I'm sorry.
this is more dire than I thought. At first, I thought it was just certain types of movies that weren't being seen. Now I'm realizing you haven't seen anything. Why were you even a wrestler? All right, so
I saw the Goonies. I grew up on the Goonies, pal. Come on, give me that. Give me that at least.
well, there's very little wrestling related stuff in the Goonies.
Oh, come on. The Goonies are good enough music video. That's like a fever dream of like the mid 1980s. Like you had like the Andre the Giant showing up like a genie at the end of it.
Well, that was the music video based on the for the song, the movie. But any case, well, now I hesitate to even. No, I'm just gonna say it. You all know. Everybody else here has seen it, so that's what I realized. I realized that I was piecing to like I was being trained. I was being trained in pieces, but the pieces were going to put together a puzzle that was going to be an entire match. I just didn't know. It was like segmented, like the chain wrestling. Yeah, it just seemed like endless chain wrestling. Yes, we got to exchange these holds. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. This guy stinks. Whatever. Like that was the sort of feeling that you get. And then you run your the spot training, the high spot drill, the comeback drill, the Popeye drill, the whatever it is. Like you run these drills and it's like, okay, I'm running these drills. I'm taking these bumps. I'm doing all this stuff. The warm-ups with the crisscrosses and the, everything. By the end of it, when he throws me into Rip is like, he knows before you know when you're ready to do the things that, take you to the next step. So one day he says to me, all right, he's like, Vet, in the ring, you're a heel. Fred, in the ring, you're a baby face. He said it like that because Fred was usually one of the leaders. And he goes, Fred, just shut the fuck up and do whatever the vet says. So before he said anything else, I went by the desk like as I was on my way to the ring, and I was like, I stopped by the desk and I was like, Rip, are you sure? Because I had never done any, I'm just the follower, and I had not been doing it that long. I'd only been here like a couple 3 months.
Dude, as soon as you lay that scenario out, I know exactly what's going on. They're testing you to see if you can call and carry a match.
Yeah. So, anyways, he goes. So I say, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "What the hell? You're the goddamn vet, right?" I was like, "Shit." The vet is an ironic nickname for anybody that doesn't know or forgot. The only reason that I'm called the vet is because on my first day, Rip was like trying to give me a nickname, and he's just like, well, you're the rookie, right? So we'll call you the veteran. That's it. It's as simple as that. He's just making fun of the fact that I've never done anything, so it's supposed to be a joke. And then every time he'd see me, he'd say, Vet, 30 years in the business. And then the next time he'd see me, he's like, Vet, 35 years in the business. And it got up to the longer than the business existed, how many years I've been in the business. Every time he saw me, it never went down. It always went up. He remembered however much he said the last time. So anyways, I go in the ring and I was like, okay, let's go. Like, like, what do you say? So we had the match. I just did like the stuff just flowed out of me like everything that we've been practicing. I'd seen enough of these people in their matches and everything, so I knew what to do, I guess. And all the repetitions and all the trainings of the stuff, like I just plugged it into the right order for the match. And then after the match was over, you know, Rip was like, and this is a this is about the level of praise that you would get from Rip Rogers. After the match was over, Fred was like, Rip was like, Fred, how much of that was you? And Fred was like, I didn't say anything. He called the whole thing. And Rip just nodded his head and said, okay. And that was it. So my praise was him asking Fred, was that you calling it for him? The fact that he thought Fred called it for me, I guess, was probably the highest praise I could have gotten, but it still wasn't directly to me. But that's how Rip Rogers would do things. So I guess my match was okay. I guess I did a nice match. But so yeah, there you go, Chris. That was I guess that's enough of a talking about old training methods, right? I think we pretty much covered it.
I will say, I thought one of the best training methods I thought was ever imposed that I experienced, and I mean, I'm not trying to name drop. I'm just saying this is who it was. It was Kyle O'Reilly, because I'll never forget, like, after he put us through this, the dude has asthma, and he went to his bag and got his inhaler and hit it after this, and he had better cardio than any of us. Was the lesson he taught us. Like, he would have us do, remember that triple fives gimmick I was telling you before?
Yeah.
He would, like, when he was leading training, he would have us do that and then go into the corner drills right after that. And he would explain, like, you're in the middle of a match, you're going to be blown up. You need to be able to go when you're blown up.
Absolutely. Because getting blown up doesn't just mean that you're tired and, you're fatigued and whatever. You lose your mind. When you are exhausted, you can't think. You will forget.
Yeah,
if you got a spot planned, you will fucking forget it. Guaranteed.
Yep, your mind just goes to, I'm gassed, I need to get my air back, instead of going, I'm in the middle of a match and a performance, I need to stick with it.
Yes. So that's another reason why you need to learn to work so that you don't blow yourself up. You need to learn to relax in the ring. You need to learn not to be so tense, because just being tense and nervous, even before you do something physically, will still blow you up. Tensing your entire body blows you up. For any of you that like video games and have played like VR video games, if you wonder why you're so exhausted after a long session of VR video games, it's because you're tensed up the whole time. Because it's not just like a normal relaxing video game. You've been unconsciously, subconsciously tensing your body. And it's the same thing in wrestling. You're tense, you're nervous, you know, and that happens before you take one step. So imagine when you start running, when you go up and down.
Bro, like, and this one thing you have to experience yourself is that nervousness and that tension as you're walking behind that curtain waiting for your music to hit. Like, bro, there's nothing like it. There is nothing like that.
Yep. Yeah, and at least for me, no matter how I felt before the match, once it was time to go, that went away. The feeling went away. The tension doesn't go away, but the feeling of like the butterflies, the sort of like the self-doubt, like, I don't know, like all that goes away because you just don't have time for it. Your body knows.
Yep. Once that music hits, you sit between that curtain. It's like, okay, you got to put that nervousness aside. You got to put that anxiousness aside. You're out here to do a job. You're out here to work. You're out here to perform. You know how to do it, so go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only way to ever be able to deal with those things, process those things, is you just have to be so ready for anything, be so prepared, so trained, so experienced, whatever it is, that everything else is second nature, so that all you have to deal with is just a little bit of nervousness and stuff that comes in, and that's how you can avoid being blown up. That's basically it. Most of the guys that you see like on TV, right now. They're all past those points, so when they go out there, they pretty much, other than Jey Uso perhaps, he's just got to do more cardio to, so that he can yeet and then still have enough in the tank by the time he gets down to the ring. But that's a very specific reason why he's like that. If he wasn't doing that, he would be just fine. So, um, so yeah.
That was a lesson I learned the hard way very early on. Don't go all in and spend yourself on your entrance because you're going to be gassed before that bell even rings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if you're the Ultimate Warrior and you're not going to have a long match, then that's one thing. But all right. Well, I think at this point, I think we should probably move into the Impact review. So let's go ahead and do that.
Speaking of which, I think we've already passed last week's runtime and not even touched Impact.
That's right. Well, don't worry. We're not going to add too much time to it. I don't think. But we'll see how it goes. The first thing you have to do when you're watching an episode of Impact is you have to sit through the catch-up packet. This will let you know what has happened recently. It'll let you know, it'll give you an idea of what's coming up because all of the footage is relevant as I'm vamping to the best of my abilities while the gimmick is being searched for off screen. But
I'm sorry. I think I might have accidentally spent all of my ketchup packets.
Oh my goodness gracious! Oh my goodness! It must have been some good eating.
But I think a Taco Bell mild sauce packet might work.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's nothing spicy about this ketchup packet. It's just the same old shit. We're starting with a random triple threat match. It's Cedric the Alexander versus Jason Hotch, one half of the Great Hands, versus Leon Slater, your what's it called? X Division champion. It's not a long match. It's just here to set something up. It's gonna be Leon Slater winning with a 450 on Jason Hotch, who's like, obviously he's done nothing to earn, right? We're in the treehouse now. We've done nothing to earn this title shot. He's just here so that he can be beaten. And so that means that Leon Slater's going to hit the Swan 450 on him for the win. It took him, I was watching this match in 2x speed. It took him forever to climb up that turnbuckle to do that finish on double speed. I can only imagine what it was like in normal speed. And this wasn't a long match, so I don't know what the hell he was selling that he took like 10 minutes to climb up to that rope. But Leon, you have got to temper that. Like, I can understand how you were doing that in the Moose match when he kicked the shit out of you, even though you still took most of the match somehow. But whatever, it was a longer match. You could have been more tired. This match barely happened, and he's up there climbing it like it's Mount Everest. Just get the fuck up there and end this. All right, that's my notes for the kid. What do you got?
And I thought it was all right, but yeah, as far as that long, I hope he's not hurt or anything. Like, or maybe he might be trying to.
He's just
or he might just be trying to kill time. Like, cause they had a lot of short matches on this show.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about killing time, kid. It's not your job. That's the showrunner's job, because whoever's editing this shit and putting out the taped shows after the fact has to worry about whether it's too long or short. So don't embarrass yourself. Speaking of embarrassing yourself, Gabby is asking Masha, what's on your mind? What do you think's on her mind? She tells Reptilian Britt Baker, get ready for the fight of your life. Then they go back to Leon Slater, and Cedric comes in and reminds him that you didn't pin me. And he reminds him of that like 10 times. They're doing this very childish little bit of Leon Slater saying, well, I won the match, so And he's like, well, you didn't beat me, but I won the match, but you didn't beat me. Okay. Um, next match.
Felt
Indy
very,
Hartwell.
very reaching. Very reaching. Try to find something, make something out of this.
Yeah. Indy Hartwell and Danny Luna versus Jody Threat and Ariana Grace. Why? I missed this in the ketchup packet or the hot sauce packet. Why is this match happening? Why are these two teams?
The only thing I can assume is they're wanting to do like a program between the former Spitfire members, but at the cost of their partners? Nah, there's other people you could slide in there for that. And you can do this in much less time.
Yeah, I'm missing the Ariana Grace part.
Yeah, that made no sense. Yeah, what does she have to do with any of that?
Was she there in the last week's thing when Victoria was saying she's the mentor? Was Ariana Grace anywhere in that? I didn't think that it was. Maybe she's filling in for somebody else. I don't know. Look, the match doesn't really matter. Victoria came out during the match. She wandered out there so she could watch because she is the mentor. The whole story of this match was that Jody Threat didn't want to attack her former partner, Danny Luna. Danny had no such compunctions about attacking Jody Threat. She did not care. She would just fight her like normal. So that's where they stand as far as that story goes.
And to be fair, they at least kind of set it up where Danny was. It did seem like Danny's a little bit mad at Jody because it was Indy who was the first be there by her side when she got jumped instead of Jody, and she did express a little bit of frustration at that.
Yeah, and well, she ends up winning because she hits the lunar landing on Jody Threat for the win in this match. Yeah, that's it. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, this is more for this. This felt like it was more for tell a story between the eventual Danny Luna versus Jody Threat feud, and everybody else was collateral damage in this.
Yes. And as far as my promise to keep an eye on Indy Hartwell, this was just general awkwardness. She didn't fuck anything up so badly that I need to comment on it because it didn't even last that long. So, and she wasn't involved in the actual angle of the match. She was just a bystander. So she just gave people thumbs up and, did a kind of a boring comeback. Okay. Jake Something's cutting a promo and Burt Macklin walks in on it just to say nothing. He said nothing to something.
Yeah, just your typical, hey, if you want this title, come after it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even remember him saying that. It looked like he just walked in and looked at him. So, as Todd Brantley might say nothing Jones or something. Hey, you know how WWE Unreal is a thing? Well, don't worry. TNA's got their own version of some backstage documentary bullshit here. It's called Slammiversary Fade to Black, and you can watch it somewhere. I don't know where. They just showed it. Maybe if they told me where to watch it, I forgot or I didn't notice, but it's coming somewhere. You guys could see the whole business exposed in TNA too. You don't have to just, settle for WWE. Yeah. What are you talking about, Todd? It's an homage. It's an homage. It's not a steal. It's an homage. And your line is stolen too. That's fucking Taz. What are you talking about? Anyway, Zigglers versus Rascals. Your thoughts?
I was kind of shocked at who went over, but at least the right team went over, in my opinion.
Well, there you go. Well, in case you weren't watching, then that was the Rascals. The Rascals went over. They hit the spiral. The what's the kid's name? Oh, first of all, Myron Reed did a very, very ill-advised move to Dolph Ziggler where he, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Dolph's standing on the apron and Myron Reed, like, jumps over the top rope from inside the ring, jumps over the top rope to, like, try to give him, like, a cutter to the floor. They're not, you know, I mean, it does lead to the finish, but ouch. And I'm surprised Dolph went with it instead of, you know, just I don't know, kid.
Okay, I like that idea, but we can get to it this way.
Yeah, just give me a drop kick. Just give me a drop kick, kid. I'll see you out there. So
what's your finish? Yes. Drop kick. I'll move.
So yeah, the actual finish was the spiral tap because Zach climbed up and hit Ryan with the spiral tap. And then afterwards they go to break, but the bros won't leave. They're still in there. They're annoying people. They're invoking their rematch clause for emergence. And they start talking about Rhode Island. So that means Hometown Man has to come out. And then they beat the shit out of Hometown Man and unmask him. And they actually said, Tom actually says they're going to expose Cody Deaner to the world. Now, I may be mistaken, but I thought Tom was playing along with it. Or does he not? I don't remember.
I think he is, but at least in that situation, at least they'd have to sell a little bit hard of him freaking out and realizing, oh shit, he's got exposed, and I have to sell it as that's him, and kind of cover my ass.
Well, the mask wasn't off yet. That's why I'm asking, because I'm sure he could have said, he could have been saying, look, this guy's is Cody Deaner, but I don't listen to the commentary that much. I just so happen to hear it. Either way, it's fine because this whole thing is dumb. So it's not like he ruined a great angle or anything. It's just whatever. So they unmask him and he covers his face. And then he we don't, if you didn't know it was Cody Deaner, it's not like you got a clear shot that it was Cody Deaner. He had his hands covering his face. So it's whatever. Security comes out and they get super kicked. And then the Rascals come out and finally they run the brothers out of the ring. So yeah, Hometown Man with a hot angle here. That's a pitching over to you. You love the Hometown Man. You love this. You love this heat. This heat on Hometown Man. Oh my God! I can't believe they would do this to Hometown Man.
Who'd be the third man though? Like who are the Nemesis going to get?
Mabel. I think he's passed away.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. Unless they get a Ouija board and a sacrificial body or something like that.
The ghost of Mabel still weighs 15 pounds. Yeah, I don't know. So, hey, I know a third man, Frankie Kazarian. He could be one. He also here at this promo, he wants to have a little chat with Carlos Silva. about the way he's been treated around here. And he says, well, I do like the line where he says, "Bring your hat." Maybe Killer Kowalski is spinning in his grave, but sometimes Frank Kazarian has a funny one-liner. Let's see. Santana is doing a promo in the crowd. He makes his way down to the ring. A lot of this promo is just him talking about how much he's done and how hard he's worked, and his daughter crying and all this other shit. And he basically, at the end of it, he promises that he's going to be the TNA champion. I have a question, Brandon. I have a question. Maybe you can help me. Maybe you guys in the chat can help me too. I need help. Even the best in the world needs help sometimes. Why don't I like Mike Santana? It's not a rhetorical question. I'm looking for an answer. Why don't I?
I will say this from my perspective, it does feel a little bit forced, just a little bit.
So other than this, what you're saying, because I'm not talking about this promo. This is just the latest thing for me. I'm talking about everything. But I'm talking about all the way back to LAX, LAX versus LAX, like when he first came in with Ortiz here, all the way till today, the AEW run, everything. The TNA appearances, the NXT appearances, everything he's done. Why can't I get on board? I'm not getting on board. I don't understand. I don't know what's wrong with me. Obviously, I should love Mike Santana. They're telling me I should. They want me to. I just don't. What am I missing?
Something there just might not connect. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people like who they like. They're drawn to who they're drawn to for whatever reason it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Because I really don't care about Mike Santana at all. But where are you at? Because, as far as, do you think he is the guy? They are hinting heavily that he's the guy. But how do you feel about that? And,
I mean,
overall.
me personally, the way I see the way he connects with the crowd and how they have gotten behind him, and I mean, I think he could be the guy. I mean, at the very least, he's worth giving a shot. Be the guy. And worst case scenario, if you have to pull the plug, there's a lot of options you can go with, especially with a partnership with NXT.
Yeah, if Mike Santana doesn't work out, we got a whole roster full of NXT people that we could put the belt on.
Well, I mean,
the options in TNA are not that great. They're not that many anyway. You got Joe Hendry and you got Moose. Who else even is there?
Right, yeah. How hard would it be to flip it over to Moose?
I don't know. Well, we are going to get our next match here. It is a TNA Knockouts title match. It's the one that Masha Slamovich, her rematch that she requested. She's taking on JC Jane, aka Mrs. Iguana. This match doesn't go long either. Because Ash by Elegance runs in and belts Masha, literally, to get a DQ. And then there's a schmoz as Fatal Influence runs out, and then the Zayas run out, and basically, we're left with Masha and the Zayas, and all the heels scatter like roaches, but we just got robbed of a title match. I guess it's fine, except for here we are still with this. I just don't like this whole JC as champion thing.
Yeah, this needs to get rectified as soon as possible. Like, why not just take it off for here?
I don't know. I'm just saying. And get ready, AAA. Get ready for more of this. Be sure that all the people you like. We saw a preview of it. I was talking about it. I mentioned it on the watch along. I mentioned it on the review. On the SmackDown prior to SummerSlam, they beat Psycho Clown in a tag team match when you had the joke character right there. Gimmick injury report time. Gia Miller with her head injury that we all remember because it was rammed repeatedly into the stairs by Tessa Blanchard. She's cleared. Gia Miller can be back. Take a hike, Gabby. Mance Warner suffered bruising, but he's cleared. Don't worry, he's cleared. No, it's okay, Brand. He's cleared. He's cleared. He's cleared. He just had a little bit of bruising. That's all. He's cleared. Don't worry yet. But Elijah still is out with his triceps injury. That's definitely still a thing. He's not coming back. You know who else is not cleared to compete is Casey Navarro, as he sits on a table with the doctor checking him out and saying that he can't go out there. We know this knee is day-to-day that he has. We know that from previous gimmick injury reports. He's re-aggravated it after that ladder match. Somehow, after that horrific bump at Slammiversary, AJ Francis doesn't have knee problems, but Casey Navarro has knee problems. So, he's sitting there not cleared. Trick and AJ don't care that he's not cleared. I believe Trick's words were, "Get him a crutch." Or maybe that was AJ's words, but either way, they're not having it. So there you go. Santino books Ash by Elegance versus RBB next week, and the Elegance brand is banned, and then the winner will face Masha Slamovich. So maybe Ash can get the belt back. Not that that's what I want to see.
Give the Elegance brand all the knockouts, gold pal.
Yeah, just make them the Judgment Day of. So Mara Sade gets a profile. So if you didn't know about Jakara Jackson, whose real name is Jamara. So that was an interesting switch to NXT. Well, we'll just put a K here. But yes, Mara Sade tells you all the sports that she played and all the fitness modeling she did and all the stuff that she, it just gives you some background on who this person is. So there you go. Nothing wrong with this. Anything you want to add?
I liked a good character introduction and reminded us of who she is and who she was and who she is now. And we need some more stuff like that.
Well, what we're going to get is something like the Order for Victory rally. That's what we're going to get. And they got a name for Todd's guy, Agent Zero. Sonny says the way Becky was throwing Lyra around, they should change her name to Slamovich.
Yeah, sorry, I got nothing on Agent Zero.
Well, he's the tall guy, so now we have something we can call him other than the tall guy. Joe Hendry has something that he liked to tell us, and that is that John Schuyler is a loser, and he's got footage to prove it. And then he plays, you know, a relatively unfunny video of a wrestling buddy with a cutout face of John Schuyler taped to it, doing a bunch of stuff backstage. Agent Zero's Gilbert Arenas nickname. That's funny. Well, I guess he didn't trademark it because here we have this guy. Yeah. So Joe Hendry's like, I challenge you to a match right now, and Ali's like, no. He's like, we'll do it next week, so you have enough time to prepare and have no excuses and all this other stuff. So, a nice stacked show for next week. Did you enjoy the Joe Hendry video?
Not really. It felt like a shell of like his former ones.
It sure did, didn't it? It sure did. We get an exclusive interview next. Sami Callihan. I'm happy to say that Sami Callihan admits that he's fat.
He's fat.
Yes, he knows. He knows he's fat. He talked about being fat. How he's always been fat. Until he went to WWE is the only time he wasn't fat. And he's slowly been getting more fat after he left there. Pretty much everything he's been saying, or we've been saying, or I've been saying. So he's doing this thing here where he wants to challenge Mike Santana to a match at Emergence. And if he can win, then he'll know that he's got to get things back on track because there's still some hope. But if he doesn't, then maybe it's time for him to hang it up. Because that's what Tom was asking him as they're talking. Like, are you gonna really retire? Is that true? And he's basically saying he thinks he might have his answer. If he can't beat, if you can't beat the top guy in the company, yeah, you might want to have to hang it up. Sure. There's a lot of people that can't beat the top guy of the company. They aren't going to retire, but you can retire if you can't beat him. That's definitely okay. And I assume that if he does do that, based on what he's saying, that he will go into a downward spiral and just get fatter and then just eat himself to death, basically. Or he'll turn into one of those Wall-E people where the bones have just disappeared and they're just blobs floating around on hover chairs. But if he sticks around and gets in shape, then hey, good for him too. Not as good for us, but because he still wrestles like he does, but at least he'll be healthy. Lara says he's a planet. He's like one of those small, like he's like Pluto, where the scientists keep debating on what he is or not. Well, looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. Moose and Eddie, Fat Eddie, not as fat. He's not retirement fat. Versus Trick and AJ. So it's your standard main event tag team match. Nothing particularly amazing, but now Moose gets to be on the end of the other end of the pin the champion and get a title shot that he's been doing for so long as the X Division champion.
Which, of course, means he's not going over at Emergence.
Of course not. Well, first of all, it's Emergence. They're not going to switch the title at Emergence. So, just the booking of where it is telling you who's going to win. But, yeah. Look forward to Moose getting screwed over again.
Question is, who's going to do it this time? Is it going to be First Class or High Rise or somebody new?
Why choose? Why not have the entire like everybody come together and bring a new person in. High rise, uh, the first class, and a mystery partner can all screw Moose. Although Moose does have the system, so you really might need to bring everybody to outnumber the system.
That's very true. Look, like high rise. Let's see. Well, that's still out numbers then. I think. Yeah, by one at least.
Well, are we going to count Kenny and Kendra though?
Now they're inanimate objects.
All right. Well, after watching this episode of Impact, I was an inanimate object. So, thankfully, we're done talking about it. We've got more stuff scheduled for next week. If I could say anything good about the show, it's that they left something for next week. But yeah, I feel like overall the show's a slightly better quality than it had been in the months leading up to it. I know a couple months ago we were really down in the dumps as far as TNA is concerned, and how they're directionless and boring, and other times outright bad. Now it's just boring. It seems like they have direction, and it seems like they cut out some of the stuff that's terrible, other than that Joe Hendry video. But if boring's all you are, I think that's a good place to be, because it makes the exciting moments stand out a little bit more. But besides that, any closing thoughts on this week's episode or anything else?
I mean, hopefully TNA gets momentum back this Thursday, and of course, wrestling is a buzz. Wrestling itself is always going to be entertaining, regardless of whether the product or the news and anything involved in it and the reactions to whatever happens in it, as we saw this weekend with Seth and Brock. But yeah, I thought it was a decent show tonight. I mean, it wasn't the best, but it was all right.
Well, when we're ending on a Moose win, I think we just really have to take that and appreciate it as much as we can. Because how often do we ever say that? You got one bona fide star in the company, and never ends the show with a win. So, gotta take it. Gotta love it. Gotta appreciate it. And you gotta send me my Moose figure. Damn it. What is going on, Power Town Wrestling? Let's go. Let's go. LFG. All right. So, with that being said, Brandon, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, as always, you can catch me on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, the X, at LG Brandon Whoop. Let's see. Tomorrow we have the late start NXT watch along, which airs as soon as A show is done. And then we got AEW Dynamite watch along and belt count on Wednesday. Thursday, the Impact watch along and belt count. Friday, the SmackDown watch along and belt count. Saturday, HMG After Dark. And
featuring a Karate Kid.
We'll open with Karate Kid. Let's see. We'll continue something, either Unreal or King of the Hill. Who knows? We'll figure it out. And then Sunday, HMG After Dark. That's kind of up in the air. Maybe we'll pick up on some Canadian comedies. Not sure if we'll pick up on Trailer Park Boys season 8 or Shoresy season 3. Who knows? Karate Kid on Saturday. Karate Kid on Saturday. Faux show.
Does anybody watch Trailer Park Boys or Shorzy with Brandon when he puts it on? Like, do you try to sync it up with him? I just want to know. Yeah. Well, Liz is currently in a situation where she's locked into catching up to One Piece, so she can't watch anything either. So she understands.
Oh, yeah, in Sports Tonight, because we also got the Raw Watch Long continuation, followed up with a special HMG After Dark. We're doing the first 2 episodes of King of the Hill on Hulu.
Yeah. I will allow you to watch King of the Hill on Hulu tonight because it's timely and new. Other than that, it would have been Karate Kid.
Thank you, Sensei.
Yeah. So with that, you can find me at Opinion Haver on all your favorite social media platforms. You can find me at the Next Level Wrestling Review every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern with Big Ray Hernandez. You can find me on Directage with Jimmy every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers every Friday. You can check out Stevie Richards' show every Friday. You can check out Limpin' Ain't Easy every Wednesday. And that is it. So, thank you all for watching. And for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign-off line.